Redeeming the game. Hey, redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Redeeming the Game podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Sanders, and boy, oh boy, how excited I am today.
Yes, sir.
As you can see, I got two incredible young men in my living room. This is 2 out of the last 3 weeks. I'm excited to not be doing this by myself and having to shoot podcasts by myself.
Oh, yeah.
But I am beyond thrilled that you guys are here. And just to set the foundation for context for you guys who are watching or listening, as I've started this podcast journey, realized that I had to lay a foundation for where we wanted the podcast to go. But then other voices need to come in and talk about how much this game has changed our lives and how God has done it through the game. And what better way to do it than for my former players? And you guys who catch this, former players, please text me if you want to jump in. I want as many of these conversations as I get. I want to be roasted as much as you want to roast me, because I want people to laugh and enjoy it. But I also want people to hear really, truthfully, what God's done to the game and how He's transformed our lives with that ball, and truthfully, just what it was designed for. Right? We know that Dr. Naismith created this game, for two purposes. One, to get out of the cold and in a gym, and then the second purpose was to win men for the Master Jesus through the gym. And man, that was life-changing for me. So I'm so excited. I got my boys in the house. This is Mr. Zeb Green and Mr. Quez Harris. Yeah. Both Louisiana boys. We all Southeast. We love the coast.
Yeah.
Somewhat. I don't know, Quez, you like the ocean? No, that's right. Me and Zeb really like the ocean. We love the ocean.
Yes, we
How
do.
hard Quez does not. So Abbeville, Louisiana, Ruston, Louisiana. So shout out those two towns.
Yep.
Yeah. And when you hear this, you need to share it. Tell everybody in Louisiana. We having a party right here in Kansas City, Missouri.
Come on out here.
Pull up. We would love it. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited you guys are here. I would love for you to take a minute and just tell everybody about yourself, what you're doing now, how long you played for me, where you played for me, and then we'll dive right into the podcast.
Yeah. First of all, this guy's the GOAT right here, y'all. I think we both can agree on that. Like he said, my name is Zeb. I'm from Louisiana, Abbeville. I moved up to Kansas City roughly around 10 years ago now. So I've been here for a minute now, and
You're getting old.
okay, all right, we're not gonna do that yet. But I mean, when I came up here, one of the reasons I moved up here was to just really get away and get away from a purpose I didn't feel like was mine.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
I was running away from a lot of bad things in Louisiana, and I didn't know who I was. So, I wanted to change my life.
That's good.
And so I moved up here. And so I didn't meet you until a year after I got
That's
up
right.
here.
2016, right?
2016.
Yeah.
So I got up here in 2016. I met him, I would say, roughly in May of that year.
Yep.
And one of the things that you asked us to think about was who I was before I met you.
Yeah. That's good.
And for me, I was just a kid that didn't have no direction.
Okay.
I didn't know who I was.
Come on.
I grew up in the church. I know he did as well, but I didn't have real purpose back then. I was just like a kid, anything to better my life, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know what that looked like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I didn't know what that looked like. I'm just like,
So
hey,
good.
man, like if I can just get up there, I can find something. And so I met you, and let's just say things went up from there, man.
Okay.
And
All
so
right.
we'll start
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, just so y'all know, we gonna come back to that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We
Oh,
come back to that.
Well, my name is Quez, and I'm like he said, I'm from Ruston, Louisiana, and I got to Kansas City, Calvary University. I think it was October of 2017, I believe, and I got up here. This is a true story. I got up here. It was literally off of a word from the Lord. The Lord told me to get up, go to Kansas City, and as a 17-year-old, that's pretty.
That's crazy.
That's pretty. It's pretty hard thing to do, not knowing what's there.
Yeah.
I had heard of Calvary before, And it was a hard no. When my friend told me about the school, it was a hard no for me immediately.
Yeah, sure.
And obviously after prayer, it was September, I believe, that the Lord gave me that word after coming out of prayer to come to Calvary University. And so I applied for the school. I got accepted, I think, a week and a half later. And then I didn't have a ride up here. I didn't have a car, didn't have money for a flight. And by the grace of God, my aunt, who was in Louisiana, she came to where I was staying at the time, and she told my grandmother, she was like, well, I'm going to see my sister in Kansas City. And my grandmother was like, well, Quez needs to get to Kansas City. When are you going? She said, I'm leaving tomorrow.
Whoa,
And
my
so,
goodness.
It was really a word from the Lord. He made everything work out. And so, long story short, I got in the car with her. I came up to Kansas City, and I ended up at Calvary University.
Come on.
And so I started playing, not immediately, but I started playing a little bit after I got here.
Yeah, we could just go ahead and say that I was an idiot. You can keep going.
I'm not going.
I missed that one, folks.
I'm gonna keep that.
Not yet, not yet.
But I didn't start playing immediately. But I got to the school, and I met Coach probably a month and a half or so after, and really the rest is history. And so
good.
I've been, and the good thing about it is, ever since I met him, we've been close.
Yeah.
And we're still close, and that's the beauty of the game.
Yeah.
Relationships don't end after the game ends per se. And so it's been a blessing, and he was a great coach to play for. He was. We had ups and downs. But
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And we'll get into that soon.
Yeah. Well, I again, I'm going to just continue to say this. I appreciate you both. I can't tell you how much this means to me. This is legitimately, after starting the podcast, a dream come true. And I think that in the world of basketball, and I prayed about this all day, so I'm just going to say it outright. One of the things that I love about where we're sitting is I don't look like you. And you don't look like me. And I think that we all three would admit, for you guys who are listening, that two African American guys can be a part of a family with a white guy. And we are family, and that's the kingdom of God if we're be real about it. And that's what basketball does. That's what basketball does. And so for you guys who get to see this live on YouTube, but great. I mean, you get to see it. But if you're listening in your car, or you're driving, or you're sitting at your desk, that's what's in this living room we're chilling in right now. So okay, so let's just jump right into deep end. So I'm sitting here with two incredible young men who great basketball players. There's some rings sitting here. Zeb didn't get one, Quez did, but Zeb, to be honest, we were standing on your shoulders when we got there. And we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that conversation. Yep. And what's powerful about this conversation is it's not just about basketball. But we know that basketball, by the grace of God, is the vehicle.
Yeah.
But we know that this is not just about basketball today. What we're going to talk about is how basketball shaped and transformed your life through the grace of God. And so I think that the baseline question to start with, and you kind of answered a little bit of it, and you don't have to go way deep into it, but who were you before? And let's just say, who were you while you were here when you first came, and then who are you now?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm glad he put parameters. There's so much history between us three guys. Like we can go forever, and we can go in a million different directions. I kind of answered it a little bit earlier, just about who I was, just a lost kid, and Quez kind of mentioned just like how the game really brought us together. Growing up, being a 6'7" African American basketball player. That's all you're kind of told to be, right? Like it's just one of those things where you don't find purpose in anything else because you're tall and, you're supposed to be a basketball player. And so I kind of identified myself as a basketball player when I first came to Kansas City.
Wow. What a
right?
Yep.
And so that was something that was really hard for me. And it's going to go into that second question later when I talk about what I lost after I tore my ACL and figuring out my identity.
Oh my goodness, come on.
And so, who I was back then was I was just kind of like straddling along, just seeing what was next for me. I would often pray for opportunity, not realizing it was like right there in front of me, right? And so, meeting guys like Matt and like Quez really they don't even understand how they helped me shape my identity.
Wow.
As I've grown as a person.
Wow.
And so right now, 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't even be confident enough to just sit in front of a mic and even have this discussion.
That's facts.
Right? Like I'd be like,
That's
Coach,
real facts.
I'd be like, Coach, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, that's right.
But
That's
you
so
know
real.
what? Like
That's so
the
real.
thing is, like, they've instilled so much confidence in me outside of the game of basketball that I feel like a totally different person.
Come on, man.
10 years later, right? And
Won't he
so,
do it, huh?
God is so
Won't he do
good.
it?
And,
Yeah,
that's who I am today, man. I'm somebody who is confident in who I am in Christ.
Come on.
One of the songs that Coach would always play in the gym back in the day that I loved, and he knew I loved that song, is I Am Who You Say I Am.
Woo!
Right? So
Yeah.
that was one of the things that really started to, at that point in my life,
Yep.
was starting to take shape because I didn't know, right?
yeah, come on.
Before then, I was just, I'm a tall basketball player. If I do well, people will love me, right?
Wow, that's right.
That everybody will love me. But if I don't do well, guess what?
Wow.
People won't. They won't want to see me because that's all I was good for.
Come on.
And now I'm somebody who's shaped by Christ,
So good.
right? Somebody
Wow.
who walks inside of in Christ and with the brothers that's beside me.
Come
So
on.
that's one of the cool things, man. That
Okay.
who I was before the game or before I came to Kansas City and who I am now.
on.
So.
Because I can't wait. All yours.
Yeah, he done preached. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's it.
He done preached the word.
Yeah,
but,
yes.
who I was before I got to Calvary. I grew up in the church, man. I grew up in the church. I've loved the Lord my whole life. Yeah. I have. I think the biggest thing for Calvary is that it shaped the leader that I am today, because it kind of thrust me into leadership. Yeah. Because I've always ran away from leadership because of the weight of the responsibility.
Absolutely.
Being a leader is a very
Absolutely.
very weighty thing, and I don't take it lightly, and I never have, which is why I always ran from it, because I didn't think I was ready for it. I didn't want to fail. I didn't have a reference point as to what a good leader was. I didn't have a father growing up, and so I didn't have a great reference point. But I always knew that leadership was something that God had graced me with. And so mine is very simple, like being at Calvary, just being thrust into leadership without provocation. It really helped and shaped me to be the leader that I am today. And I am confident in saying, by the grace
Come
of
on.
God, I'm a great leader. I have a family. I have a wife that I lead. I have people that I disciple.
Yeah.
And so Calvary and basketball just shaped the leader that I am today. And the amount of lessons that I learned through the game of basketball concerning leadership is innumerable. Yeah. And so
Come on. You can't put value to it.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
It really shaped who I am as a leader
So
today.
good.
And I can definitely attribute that
Come on.
to the game.
So man, good Lord, we were going to be here till next week. I'm over here controlling all the emotions. Y'all, if you're a coach, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so hold on to it, Quiz. So I want to touch on something, because shout out Calvary University, what used to be Calvary Bible College and Theological Seminary. Shout out, because we are all here because of that. Absolutely. And thankful for shout out you, Coach Jeanette Regier,
Yes,
and Dr. Cohn. Shout out to you too.
Absolutely.
And just grateful for the opportunity to sit in the room. No matter, and the reason I want to say that, the reason I'm shouting them out is because I want to set this up for just a short answer from both of you. All of the things that happen as a college athlete at a tiny, small Christian university can go both directions. It can be really bad. It can be really good. And amidst all of that mountain of those waves, the ebbs and flows of really good and really bad, what have you taken away the most? Like, I heard the leadership part, but what else? What did you grab hold of and go, yeah, that was really bad and that was really good? Other than the fact, shout out your wives who were on the porch. You met your wives through it, but at the same time, like, how did the toughness of the things that happen, good and bad, shape you?
I would say, I believe this. This is my belief. I believe that you cannot grow except you go through challenging times.
Come on.
And so there were things that happened while I was there that really challenged me as a man, as a person of faith. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that I had to go through personally that most people don't know, like you guys know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But some of the things that I had to go through personally, it really challenged me. And but it helped me to go deeper in my relationship.
Come on.
With God, because through much trial shall you enter in the kingdom.
Woo!
And so
Now you're preaching.
I really believe that everything that I went through, there, it was a setup for what God wanted to do
Okay.
in my life and my character. It's
good.
And so
good.
I thank God for all of it. I have no regrets.
Come on.
None.
Zeb?
That was good. I agree wholeheartedly with that answer. For me, what that era of my life started to develop, including up until this very point, is just how to be decisive, right?
Wow.
So, before that, I was more like, let me just go with the ebbs and flows because, it's going to be okay, right? Like,
Sure.
It's going to be okay, but it's not always okay. Sometimes you have to stand up, like he kind of mentioned, as a man to really learn how to stand up for what you believe and what your faith
that's
is.
good.
Right? And
Yeah.
so that was one of the big things that the good and the bad really taught me about being at Calvary at that
Yeah,
time.
come on.
And so, I like you said, I'm really
Yeah,
appreciative
that's
of
so
that
good.
because
Yeah. Keep going.
yeah, I'm really appreciative of that moment because, what that did for me was, sorry, I kind of like
You're
got a little
good.
bit
Keep
lost in
going.
the
It's all
sauce.
right. It's all right.
I got a little bit lost in the sauce.
It's all right. A little distracted. It's
Yes. So outside of just me learning that, I also just learned how to, be a leader, like he mentioned, because I didn't know what it would be like to be a husband or even just a good friend, right?
on. Wow.
So some of those issues which we all knew, that was happening around us, it would often put me in a position to have to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so I had to grow in more ways than one. And, it was really cool. Like he said, no regrets of ever going to that school. I am so thankful for everyone he shouted out and more. Because every last person that I've come across on that campus, from the basketball team on down, has really shaped me into the person that I am.
So powerful.
So
and to land the plane before we take a quick break here. For the listeners out there, and I won't go too personal here, but you both lost somebody very close to you, and I think that having, because I can even feel the emotion on the inside of me as your coach, mentor, dad, whatever you want to call me.
Yep. All of it.
I feel like that those things that happen to us amidst a family atmosphere where no one really comes from the same background. I mean, even though you both came from the same area, there are people on the team who don't walk like you, talk like you, look like you, that help hold your heart. And as you're walking through things that are difficult, that are difficult, and I think that Calvary is. I don't really think it matters what institution, but at Calvary especially because of the smallness and the family nature of it, we walked with you in dark times. Right?
I mean, Coach, I'm gonna cut you off right there because that's one thing. Like I really was pondering on before when you sent that text message. Like, when my mom passed, right?
Yeah.
Like, you were one of the first people to reach out to me and check and call on me.
Sure.
Dude, like being crushed in a situation like that, you know what I mean? And having somebody like you who's, I don't know, I know now.
Well,
but,
yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? I didn't grow up with, I just met you at a random college. Like, that really just changed my whole perspective on what the meaning family is.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah, come on, man.
And so just, I always wanted to really thank you in person and no time like doing it in front of the camera, man.
Quez, you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, man. I think, during that time, it was 2019, I lost my grandmother. And a lot of you don't know my story. I grew up with my grandmother. And so I lost her. I remember the day we were at Worlds of Fun.
I will never forget
We
it.
were at Worlds of Fun, and I just
Either
knew,
one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew she was gone. And so Coach, Zeb, even just everybody on the team at that time. Really, and one of the things that was meant a lot to me was just allowing me to, go home. Just basketball is what it was. Like that was a very crucial time of the season.
Yeah.
And so just allowing me to go home to be able to put my grandmother to rest, and the guys constantly checking in on me.
That's so good.
It meant a lot to me.
Come on.
And then when I got back, the way they embraced me, and it was just it's amazing. It's just amazing what the game can do. Like all of these people from different parts of the United States, and you come together and form one big family in the midst of death and sorrow. There was joy knowing that I could come back to a family of who.
I think it's incredibly important, and I think it's a really good way to take a pause here and just say to everybody that this game, and you guys are going to learn more right now in how I feel about the game after stepping aside for the last year, in the perception of what it was designed for, and listening to what worlds are fun. Like, your mom dies, after you're gone from, and we're still talking about that. I think it is so. All right, welcome back. We just took a little bit of a break because we needed to. We got wives on the porch, children in the house. We not shooting this in a podcast studio. So again, appreciate you guys joining. Again, if you're loving what you're hearing, I need you to like, subscribe, and share. Make sure that you do all that. The goal of this podcast, at the very core of it, is to share what this game was designed for with all the coaches out there, and you coaches who listen, and you I don't know if you're in the business world, if you're a leader in any sense, a husband or a wife, this podcast would push you into a position where you feel the purpose of your life is greater than just your calling. And basketball and coaching in itself can just be the calling, but the purpose in our lives is to burn for Jesus.
100%.
And so I just want to say that, I want to continue to say that. So if this is blessing you, that I am not making a penny. I'm probably losing pennies. So let's just share this thing with as many people, and let's get some people on board. All right, so let's kind of roll back into basketball. At what point did basketball become more than a game for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a phenomenal question. And, there's so many things that happened to me on the journey of basketball. But I kind of mentioned it earlier, just guys, like, injuries do happen in basketball. But as I told you earlier, like, basketball was really my identity before I really transitioned into who God called me to be. So I tore my ACL 2017. It was, I think it was close to the first game. It wasn't the first game of the season, but it was right before.
It was game 3 because I was standing on the sideline.
It was game 3. Yes, I did a spin.
My stomach dropping to my toes. We all over there. Good Lord.
Yes. Hey, but that's how we built this, and that'll come.
That's good.
That'll come later.
Yeah, talk about it.
And so, for me, when I tore my ACL, I knew right away. I'm like, man, it is over with. Like, everything in me, who I thought I was, I'm like, this is it. Like, I don't know who I'm going to be, right? I don't know what I'm going to do because, I didn't view myself really as a child of God. I viewed myself more so as a basketball player, right? And so when that happened, I really had to face some true trying times. Like, okay, I mean, at that point, suicide almost came to your mind because it's like, man, like,
you wouldn't be the first one.
Exactly. Because I'm like, this is all I got. Right.
Yeah.
But when I truly started to embrace that I am a child of God at that point, man, some of the things I was in my dorm room a lot. I would be crying. I'd be sad just thinking that I didn't have, nothing for me.
Wow.
But people like him, that's when we first met, and really started to grow together. It really started to empower me that, man, there's people out there that care about me more than the game. Wow. Right. And so that was something that really stand the test of time to me. It gave me the power to really get back up, right? And go work my butt off, not because my identity was in basketball, but that God surrounded me with brothers who was going to take care of me.
Come on, bro.
And family that still loved me in spite of.
Powerful.
And so, that was one of the things that really took shape. And after that year, and after the surgery, I really started to change my identity more towards God than me thinking that I'm no good or nobody's going to love me if I don't play the game.
100%.
So,
my goodness.
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's go. I just feel like we're going to be here till next week. It's just, it's a lot.
Gonna get fired. Still here Monday.
So, y'all not going to work.
For me, I would say the moment that basketball changed for me is, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but we had a conversation, and you remember this conversation, but we had a conversation right before I joined the team in your office. And obviously you had watched my highlights or whatever. It was like, we don't need that. And the reason, but the reason that he gave me a chance, really, the reason that he gave me a chance was not really because of basketball. We had a conversation about God.
Yes, we
had
did.
a conversation about God, and I gave him my heart concerning the things of God and the matters of God, and for him that was enough. And that moment for me, it kind of changed because I was like, he doesn't really care about basketball per se.
So
Like,
true.
He does, but like he let me play because I told him how I felt about God. And it was just that conversation that really thrust me into knowing that basketball is more than just, the game that we play. And to see someone, give me a chance just because of, the conversation we had about God, that was really when basketball became more than a game for me, because I saw, his perspective on a micro level, but I saw his perspective that it was bigger than the game itself. It was about, how you're going to add to the team as far as your character, as far as how you're going to fit with the boys, because it was more so, it was like a dad protecting the family. Yes. That's really what it was, because he was more concerned about my character, who I am as a person, because, basketball, he watched my highlight. I scored on 3 people. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. When he, I wasn't going to be on the team, guys, but I won't out you, but
It's fine. You can. It's totally okay.
But
it's all right.
But
I'm here for it.
He said we didn't need that, and in hindsight, I know that it was him protecting the flock per se that he was assigned to by God, and so it really became more than a game after we had that conversation in the office, and it just made me look at it differently than I ever had before, because I had never really made a team because of who I am in God or how I feel about God. It was always, you're good at basketball, you're great, I'm going to have you on the team.
Wow.
It was never about, you have a great character, you have a solid relationship with God, and you can add to the team in that perspective.
Yeah.
And so that changed my view for sure.
You don't think for one second it was you dunking on some guy in a fast break breaking a press? You don't think that had anything? We're not throwing his name out there because I'm not doing that guy like that. But my goodness. Okay, you know what? Y'all need to hear this. Take a side. We'll go sidebar it. So Quez comes and I bring him in for a practice, and I just am using him as a practice, for lack of a better phrase, practice dummy, in which he's not at all. No. And he's breaking the press. We're trying to press him, and he gets a pitch ahead down the sideline and goes down the baseline. And this other, I think every player who didn't know you at your height would have never challenged you. I mean, we would have all challenged you. I would have challenged you. I wouldn't have thought. So, and Quez goes baseline off of nice pass, breaks a press, and just tomahawks on one of my players' heads. And I remember on the side, and we're all looking at each other, and I don't remember whether it was Coach V or somebody else walked up beside me and goes, "We might want to have him on the team."
We do. We want him on our team. Yes.
So that's a great sidebar. One of the things that sticks out to me that both of you said that I want to mention, and I think you both need to hear this, and especially the coaches that listen, is as I'm listening to you talk about protecting the flock and making the game more than just basketball and talking about your relationship with the Lord, what I find myself is going back in those conversations, and I can feel sitting here the shame and the guilt for not doing it good enough. And what I want to say to you coaches is, from the bottom of my heart, you are impacting more than you think you are. Yeah. And it's interesting because as I'm listening to you, it brings back, and I don't know if you've heard this quote, but Billy Graham said that a coach can affect a person more in 1 week than most people can affect in an entire year. Yes. And a coach can affect a player or a person in 1 year more than most people can affect in a lifetime. Yes, I agree. And so as leaders, if you're watching this, you're listening as a leader, that applies to you too, because we're all in some kind of leadership role. But coaching, by the grace of God, is designed to just wreck people's lives for Jesus, right? And so I just want to say that right now, because I'm listening to you, and I can hear the Lord saying, "But you were exactly who I wanted you to be right then," right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were exactly as you were supposed to be then, but not as you were going to be. Yes. And so y'all shape me too, right? We all know that, right? You already know. You've seen it. You've seen it live and in color. Oh, yeah. That's why you're sitting in here. Yeah, I think so. Let's turn the page a little bit, and I'm going to let you talk to me. So everybody can get a little bit of a feel for this. That's why I wanted you to be here. What did you see? So I asked you about you. What did you see happen in me from the time you started until you finished? Like what changed? I don't know, maybe a couple things that you're like, yeah, you know, you started this way, but you were that way.
I would say honestly, something that, and I want to give you credit for this, because something that I always appreciated about you is, though you were in a place of authority, you always took the role of humility in the sense where you were a servant leader. You always come to us like, how can I be better? What can I do to be better? And you know, that I carry that today.
Wow.
I carry that today as a leader, because most coaches that I played for, or the average coach, they're not really concerned about like what the player think. It's my way or the highway.
Right.
And the level of humility that you always decided to take was just profound to me. And so I appreciate you for
appreciate
that,
that.
because it really is a reflection of who Jesus
receive that.
is.
Thank you.
And so one of the biggest changes that I would say is patience, or just I saw the peace of God
Yeah, come on.
overshadowing.
100%. Come on,
overshadowing
man. Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that play out in your life, your coaching style. I saw the peace of God on you from the 2017 until the time I graduated. It was evident that the love of God had wrecked your life, and so that's something that I really saw overtake you very, very strongly. And like I said, it affected everything you did, like your coaching style, how you approached, you know, everything. It was infectious. And not only that, I would say that it was infectious on the team as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because, you know, I always say the spirit of the leader becomes the attitude of the people.
100%.
so-
It shapes the culture, right?
Yeah. And so whenever that change started happening in you, it started happening all the way down. And so that was the biggest thing, just how the peace of God really, you know, overtook you.
Come on.
In your life.
I received that.
It was evident.
For me, I think, me and you we started this thing years and years ago at this point. So
A decade for sure, because it's definitely 26.
Yes. So the amount of changes I've seen through you, I mean, when we have conversations behind your back, that's one of the biggest things we always say.
Okay.
Coach has grown so much from year to year. Like from 2016 to 2017, because I started in 2016 with you. I mean, me and obviously Tim isn't here, but Tim and I seen such a profound like difference in attitude, in mindset, in mentality towards the game.
Yeah.
That I was just like, you know, I could never walk away. I'm like, dude, like I have to be a part of this, because in my mind, coaches in my past have never even thought about growing from a spiritual standpoint, right? It's all about winning.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
You know,
that's powerful.
It's all about winning.
Yeah.
And when it came down to you, I got to literally see you bring me into a meeting at the end of that year and say things are going to change. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? They did.
Oh, yeah.
They did. Like
Yes, they did.
Every year I saw you grow in your character, and you know, and you always had some sentiment about us bringing Christ on the court.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something I'll always remember, because I take it on my day to day, just like we take in show up 15 minutes early.
Or leave it better than you
leave it better than you found it. Right. So,
Shout out John Wooden for that one. Yeah.
so, you know, those are the things that I truly, I'm glad I got to see, because I didn't see that in a coach before. It was just always, what can you do for me on the basketball court? I remember when, to bring it back to me tearing my ACL, like, you know, you still treated me like I was so much part of the team, when so many people would have been like, bro, you had your time, right? Like, this guy was there for me through the actual surgery of my ACL. He took care of me when I was down and out and I couldn't move. Those are things that I remember after I'm done playing basketball, right? Like, you know, there's many plays that happen on the court, good and bad, but I'm talking about someone who was willing to take care of me off the court when he didn't have to do that. He could have been like, bro, you don't have to come and stay with me and take care of me.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been a transactional relationship.
Absolutely,
Hey,
totally.
but it wasn't like that.
Come on.
And that's something that I truly appreciate about your character, because you really did bring Christ on the court and off the court.
And I think that the thing, and again, I remember as I was praying about this all week long, anticipating today, or Friday, praise God, we're past Friday now, but
Yep.
you know, anticipating today, one of the things that I thought about was like, do I have you speak on me, because it's a little narcissistic. And but what I feel like though is I feel like that this podcast, if you haven't seen a bunch of them, go back and start them, because what I'm sharing with people is this transformation that happened in me.
Yep.
That the love of God has totally changed who I am,
Good.
and that I have been redeemed, and that's where this came from.
Yep.
The vision of redeeming the game came from I'm walking, and the Lord is like, I want you to redeem the game like I want it to be, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I get this picture.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so now I see myself as a righteous, redeemed, beloved child of God,
Yep.
and you know, you wish you could go back 20 years, and yet I think it's important for people to hear and see that what I am saying to them on the rest of the podcast is real. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I felt like it was important for everybody here. Okay, all right. So let's turn the corner and start to land the plane. How have you now post basketball been out a couple of years, 3 years? Y'all are getting old. 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. 6, 5, 6. Hey, I'm being generous over here. Time flies. How long you been out?
Since 21.
21. So
2020, so
6 years, 5 years for you. So how if you can kind of put a bow on it, how have you seen basketball, the game? How did basketball transform you into the man that you are today? And again, we're not elevating the game greater than God. We know that, again, Dr. Naismith created the game by the grace of God to draw men to Jesus. How has that transformed you into the man you are today?
That's a good question. Man, for me, I would say, I said it earlier when I was just talking about like my confidence in God. I think a lot of the conversations we had on the court, like I feel like we always talked about God before and after games. And I believe that was part of my transformation, because I wasn't used to that. If you guys knew the college that I was at prior, oh my God, prior to coming to Calvary, like, you know, it was good to add to my game, but it wasn't adding to my character, right? And so the game itself has really transformed my life into a person who really walks in God the right way, who's just like, I'm just wanting to be a good friend, a good husband, a good basketball player, not because, you know what I mean? Not because that's my identity.
Come on.
But that's because, you know, those are all the traits that Christ have put in me.
Come on, bro.
And really understanding that now. And it's just something that the game has really brought into my life. And I'm so thankful for you guys and, you know, the people that I've come across at Calvary specifically, because that was my transformation part, really.
Come on.
That was where I became who I am today.
Yeah.
And obviously that even took years after. Like, it took years after for me to really encapsulate what Calvary really did for me.
Wow.
And what the game really did for me. But now I wake up very motivated to attack life, because I really understand who God is.
It's powerful
to me, based on what I learned from the game.
Come on.
Hey, man, I'm going to give you an offer.
Come on. Hey,
Give you an offer.
Give you an offer. Yeah. You can put one at the door. There's a box at the door. Glory.
Yes, sir. Basketball, for me, basketball it was always a vehicle that God used to teach me about life and relationships. It transformed my life. Like I said, obviously the biggest thing was just leadership, but also knowing how to do relationships. I believe that relationships are the currency of heaven. And so you're always going to have relationships in your life. You're always going to, encounter people. And so the adversity that I went through on the court, the adversity that I went through as a leader, the adversity that I went through with you,
Sure.
it really helped shape, my decision making when it comes to life and how to attack adversity.
Yeah, come on.
Because like I said, growing up without a father, you're not taught a bunch of stuff as a man. And so it really shaped me as a man in a lot of ways, because it forced me to grow, because I was in leadership.
Yeah.
And so it forced me to grow as far as a man, as far as like my relationships, how I handle adversity, how I handle, difficult times. And so, like I said, the biggest thing for me was just leadership, man. I'm telling you, basketball really shaped me to be an exceptional leader. And I'm just
Won't he do it?
I'm just honored. I'm just honored
Praise God.
for the things that that we went through.
Yeah.
The things that we went through, both good and bad.
Okay, so let's really land the plane this way because I think it's important that people understand. So Zeb in his senior year faced two incredible basketball teams to finish the season. We lose in the conference title game on one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life. I'm not real.
Still haven't watched it.
I can't. I won't watch it either. I'm not watching it either. Shout out, Brian Fincham and Faith. We're not mad at you, but but we lose in that game, and then we get to the regional semifinals in North Dakota, and we ran into the home team, and they got all the calls. Not blaming the referees, but boy, oh boy, Zeb got beat to death.
Oh my God.
And then, and I want you to speak to that in a second, but I'm going to let you talk about this first. So, how did we win 7 games the following year and go on the run that we went in the regional tournament, win the first regional championship in men's basketball at Calvary, and make it to the first national tournament in almost 50 years? How did we do that? What do you think? I know we were standing on their shoulders, but what do you think led to that?
I truly believe it was the spirit and the culture that we were building at Calvary, that we had built, starting with them.
Yeah.
I believe, and I also really believe that God had a bigger purpose for our team.
Come on.
Because I'll tell you a story that you haven't heard yet. So when we won the championship and all that, and that's great, but we went to nationals, and you remember the coach from Ozark.
Yeah.
We don't have nobody to lead worship. And so the whole team was like, he can do it. And so I was just like,
Yes, you can.
okay. And so, we led worship, and there were a couple of teams there. And maybe 3 years later, I was in the mall in Kansas City, Overland Park Mall. And there's this guy, he's in a shoe store. He's just staring at me. He's at the counter. I'm like, what is he? Like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
And so I get to the counter, and he was like, did you used to go to Calvary? I was like, yeah, I did. And he said, man, I remember you from the worship night at Nationals. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, you said something. He said, you was up there and you said, as men, sometimes we feel like, it's unpopular, it's not cool to lift your hands. He said, when you said that was the first time I ever lifted my hands in worship. And this is 3 years.
Wow.
I really believe that the Lord had a bigger purpose for our team. Yes, we won the championship, but I believe the hand of the Lord was on our team to change lives, because I know that God, God did some incredible things at the national tournament, and I really believe that we were there, on assignment, and it's not basketball.
Well, there ain't no question about that.
Yeah, I really believe that. And
good.
so it was the hand of the Lord. And like I said, we had an incredible culture. We had an incredible culture. Like, it was me and Braden, 2 seniors, and a bunch of freshmen. and we beat the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, so good.
The team that just had beat us by 30.
Yeah, that's right.
And
yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
it was the Lord's doing.
Yeah,
It was the
come
Lord's
on.
doing, and
Yeah,
it was
come on.
marvelous and honest.
That's
It really
good.
was.
All right.
Absolutely.
Finish it.
So what do you want me to speak to on this?
I just like for you to speak to that. Like, we're standing on your shoulders a year later. We only win 7 games. We won 19 games, to be clear.
Yeah.
We won 19 games that year. We broke all kind of records. I mean,
Oh my
your first team All-American. I mean, we're just so you know, you're not sitting in the presence of 2 dudes who just played. Like, we got championships and All-Americans in the room. So I'm just saying, that season went almost as planned, and we didn't win it.
Yes.
So what? Maybe better yet, let's land it this way. How does it stick out in your mind now when you think about it?
Man, I think that season really defined our relationship
Okay.
in a great way.
Come on.
Because we started literally at the bottom when we met. We started with nothing. I mean, it was just us.
We really did.
We went through some adversity.
We really did.
And so
Yeah. I made some real good decisions.
we can get on that on another podcast.
I did not. For those of you who are not watching, I was shaking my head.
Yeah, so for me, it just really embodied like everything that we went through and who we become along the road.
Yeah.
Those incredible games that we had and performances was you know, if I had a great game, I attested to my relationship with you off the court.
Okay.
Right? Because I felt like I wanted to protect you so much.
Wow.
That I would have done anything to win it. Because I thought that at that point, I've seen you grow so much from a coach that just got to Calvary.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I would have done anything to win a ring. Let me just say this. It's not because I felt any pressure from him, right? It's because I love him so much.
Come on.
As my coach and as my friend and as a father figure in my life, that I wanted to win it all, right? And it wasn't for me at all. I wanted to put that school on the map because I think that it deserved it. A lot of the great people that we met along the way. So when we went inside of that tournament, you know, that was all on my mind. Like, this was everything. Like, this is who I've become along the way. I am no longer somebody who just view basketball as that's just who I am. I'm family with this man.
Come on, my brother.
This guy here.
So
now.
powerful.
So now I want to be great for them, for myself, and for Christ, right? So when I reminisce on those games, man, that's what really comes to my mind and what comes to my heart with how precious that year was to me specifically.
Wow. Well, I think that I think about them when I think about you. I think about them often. So when we're text or whatever, I think about them, but I don't think about them in manners whether we won or we lost. I think about exactly how you said it. And I think the best way to close out the podcast today is this is why the podcast exists, but this is why God created that game, because we're having conversations that are so much greater than that's the first time we talked about winning and losing. I mean, if we're being real, we've been on here almost an hour, and that's the first time we talked about it. And I roasted myself, you roasted me a little bit. I mean, we could do that for hours, right? But yes, we do. But I think that I just think about the families that are now attached to basketball. You're married, and I have a wife and a child. Y'all gonna have children at some point, and I think that it's just so much bigger than we make it than the scoreboard, and it is greater than the validation that comes from that ring. That ring. I mean, they sitting out here now, but they're in a box. I mean, I don't wear mine in public because it's so big, you know, and it's just weird, and unless I'm seeking attention, but you know, or I'm using it for a prop. So. It's just so much greater than that. And again, I want to say thank you. I love you both with all my heart. I know that goes without saying. And I want to shout out two people, and then I'm going to land the plane. I want to shout out Braden Unruh and Tim Marchbanks. When you see this, you're coming to this couch, just FYI. You're coming to this couch.
Yes, sir.
We might have a whole party that day.
Oh, yeah.
But shout out both of those guys because they were a real part of the foundation of where we've landed here.
Absolutely.
So many people that can be shouted out along the way,
yeah.
but those two guys are still in town, and just want to shout them out. And then again, this thing is so much greater than that ball and the scoreboard. And I'm so glad you're going on this journey with me, and thankful for both of you. And as we always say, we're set out to redeem this game, one player, one coach, and one family at a time. I hope this blesses you. Yeah,
we did it.
We partied in here.
Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game.